Welcome to Silverstone, to the 12th round of the CMH Formula 5000 European Championship. We are back for the Silverstone Grand Prix, and if you have a weird feeling of deja vu, so do I. My name is Pascal Mikula, and we're currently watching the final minute, actually the final minute and 47 seconds of qualifying for the 1972 Silverstone Grand Prix. And it's a pretty darn close field. If we look at the top 5, currently they're separated by less than a second. The top 3 are separated by less than 0.2 of a second, and I am sitting here clenching my buttocks because I'm currently watching Cesarius Schlapinski in the Surtees TS8 put on a purple first sector. Meanwhile, let's just welcome our commentator for today, Jack Morelli, who is probably watching the same and just as excited right now. I'm more scared because I'm gonna lose pole if this actually goes through. Oh lord.
Well, I mean, it's just gonna make the race more interesting.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Cesarius. There's less than a minute left in qualifying. He's coming around the final corner. And it's a 1 minute 17. Oh my god, he did it. 17.3. I should be more excited, but oh man, he just I would use some words right now, but we're streaming. In other words, before I went on this little tangent, this stream is brought to you in beautiful partnership with SimRace 24/7. Sim racing is for everyone. Thank you to Darren from SimRace 247 for letting CMH partner with his media outlet. We're looking forward to a long and wonderful partnership, and it looks like this partnership is coming off quite strong already, with a pole position for Poland's Cesarius Schlapinski. The pole is on pole.
That pun just wrote itself.
Yeah. Anyway, Jack, first time commentating from Silverstone. How do you feel about this layout? I mean, you got like 3 corners, and 2 of them are like Mackett's and Beckett's.
I'm not so sure about this layout. I prefer the Silverstone wheel.
Oh, and there he goes.
Oh, okay. Well, he's dead.
Well, he may be dead, but he's still on pole.
That's what matters. What was it? Oh yeah, I'm not quite familiar with this layout. I'm more used to the normal one, which is, well, what Silverstone is essentially known for now, which I actually love. I love the layout of the Silverstone circuit, the normal one. This one I'm not so familiar with. What can you tell me about it?
Well, this is actually the layout that was run. Oh, I think it was run between 1950, in the middle of in the mid 50s. They started using this layout, because before that, you have to start finish line now behind Woodcote. After Woodcote, they used to have the start finish line on the Farm Straight, which is the straight between the Abbey Kink and Woodcote corner. We're going to look at the track map in just a bit. And then the next layout change was done in the mid 70s when they installed a chicane at Woodcote, because I don't know if you remember, if you watched that at some point before. In 1973, Jody Scheckter, I think it was, had a big crash on the front straight, which involved like 10 or 15 cars. No one was seriously injured, but it was reason enough to install a chicane. So speaking of the layout, first of all, congrats to Cesarius Ślepinski for that pole position. Great to see people I actually know joining the series and everything like that. Now let's have a quick look at the track map to see where we are at today. So take it away, Mr. Jack.
So we are in Northamptonshire, England. I hope I said that right. I can never pronounce British names correctly. The track length is 4.7 kilometers or 2.927 miles. It's got 8 turns, and the race is going to be 30 laps. Doing the maths, that's going to be around 141 kilometers in total, or 87 miles, for this rather interesting race. Because again, I am not familiar with this layout at all. I honestly don't know what to expect.
Well, looking at the track map some more, as you see the start-finish line, I actually drew the start-finish line a bit further forward than it actually is. But the first corner is Copse. Then we go on to Maggots, Beckets, and Chapel, which is the, one of the most famous corner combinations there is. Then the Hangar Straight. Then comes, I think that's not Woodcut, that's not Copse, that's. Oh, you need to help me with that. What's that corner?
I can't remember, especially because again, this is not a layout I'm used to. I can
No, but
barely recognize it.
that corner has had the same name all along.
Yeah, I
And then
know.
anyway, that right hand corner. Then we get to Vale corner. The quick left kink is Abbey, and then we go to Woodcut and around the circuit. Now, with that said, one second. Just gonna do the quick pre-race briefing with the drivers. Yeah, with that said, I really can't get the name of this darn corner in my head now. I had it the whole time. But yeah. It's round 12 of 14 in the race, in the championship. And there we go. Just got question from Giovanni Santorami. Turn 1, lap 1, any restrictions? And all I have to say is just don't be stupid. That's really all. Anyway, yes,
it's a good
there's
sign.
yeah, I mean, what else am I supposed to say? You can't ban people from overtaking or anything like that. But what I was gonna say is, yeah, the championship is quite close actually. Let's have a quick look at those standings, especially with one new challenger hailing from HSO, or now ISO, actually being Cezary Ślepinski from Poland. Let's just read out the stuff that's on screen right now.
These are the current standings after round 11, which took place at Thruxton. Did I say that right? In first place, we have our boy Pascal Mikula with 46 points. Right after him is Joe Gillett from England with 41 points. In third position, we have Edis Batars with 40 points. Then we have German Kodov from Russia with 31 points. Juan Guerrero, 19 points. Santorami, the Italian, or as Matt dubbed him, the professor, with 18 points. Stefano Coletta in 7th place with 15 points. Anderson Bernardino with 14 points in 8th place. After him is Wilmer Jönsson from Sweden with 9 points. At number 10, we have Gustavo Losburro with 9 points as well. Then we have Marcel Yahoda, with 6 points. And in 12th position, we have Thomas McHugh from Ireland with 5 points. In 13th place, Lucas Gomez, 5 points. After him, Jessica Pelletier with 4 points. Then we have Matthew Oboisky with 4 points. 16th position is Damir Kuratko with 3 points. Then Matthew Sibanyoni with 3 points. In 18th place, second to last, would be Owen Potter with 2 points. Then in 19th place, last place, Alil Sahin with 1 point.
So 19 drivers have currently scored points in the Formula 5000 European Championship, and we are actually already in the warm-up session. The recon laps are going on, the pits are open, and yeah, for the second time in a row, I have been cocked royally out of a pole position. There's no other way to put it. At Thruxton, and yes, you said that right earlier, it was Giovanni Santorami who put a staggering lap in, up almost a half second quicker than anything he's ever done before. So that one came unexpected. And now here at Silverstone, it's just our Slapinski doing exactly the same thing. Quite magical, actually. But hey, it's all good here.
How do you feel about that?
As I said, I feel very cocked. That's really the only thing I can say about that. But it makes for a very exciting race, especially because I know I didn't, Cesare Slapinski is just not some random Yehu off the street who just came here and decided he wanted to run in one of the Surtees cars. As I said, I've known him, I've raced against him at HSO and ISO, and he's a really good lad. So I'm looking forward to that battle, especially because he's currently having a very good look at my rear end. But yeah.
It almost sounds like we are going to see a bunch of battles for the higher positions at least, especially considering everyone is bunched up at the top of the scoreboard.
Definitely. There's only 5 points between only 5 points between myself and Joe Gillett. Then there's Eddie's Bottas, another point behind. So yeah. We have also a very interesting how do you say it, starting grid lineup. It's not the 2 and 2 rows. It's we have 4 cars in the front row, 3 cars in the second row, another 4 cars in the third row, and so on and so on. Because we only have 8 cars who qualified for the race, we have on the front row Slapinski on the inside, then myself. On the left of him, on the left of myself, it's Giovanni Santorami, and Joe Gillett is on the outside of the front row. So, despite having qualified only 4th, he may actually have the advantage because, well, he's on the outside of the front row. Second row is German Korev from Russia. Steve Velocity is in the center of the second row, and on the outside of the second row is Anderson Bernardino. And the third row, all to himself, has Matthew Oboyski of the US of A.
Quite the interesting starting line.
Yeah, especially because the 2x2 starting grids weren't standardized until I think the late 70s, even maybe even the early 80s. It was still quite much the Wild West as far as racing and Formula 1 and stuff like that is concerned.
We might be seeing a very interesting start to this race, considering everyone is spread out, but they also have this weird formation, and some people are right behind someone. Oh. That's going to be interesting.
Indeed.
That's going to be really interesting.
Indeed. So, I'm just trying to line up on the grid. Here I am, I think that's... Yep, I am under my slot. Steve Velocity behind me has also gotten into his starting line slot. And as you can see, if we can just get some camera on the starting grid real quick, there's not a lot of space between the rows either. You got cars very closely packed next to each other, also behind each other. It's really, really close. So if anyone stalls on the front row or in the second row, and you got a lot of cars here, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
You don't really have an escape way. You don't really have somewhere to drive through to get away from the starting line, unless you're on the outside of one of those 4 long positions. That's
really, that's true.
very weird.
But hey, it's the 70s. What's safety?
I mean, fair enough. We're also talking about Formula 5000, which is weird in itself. So,
Yep. I see a lot of people doing many recon laps. Schlapinski, okay, he's a debutant in the series for CMH. He's doing, I think that's his 4th recon lap he's doing now. And Santorami is practicing his starts on the straight between between Cops and Maggots. Yeah, and everyone else is still in the pits. Oboiski's in the pits, Bernardino's in the pits, Velocity is on the grid.
we're just waiting for people to finish their recon laps. How long till that?
Well, there's still 4 minutes until the pits close. I see Joe Gillett is on the track now in that beautiful what's that? It's an elfin, I think that is. With that bulky nose on the front, but hey, it helps. There's still 3 minutes and 46 to go until the pits close. And then we have another 2 minutes until the formation lap starts. We won't have any starting lights. Now we have flagman standing on the pit wall. So we gotta watch that man very closely for the start. Santorami doing yet another recon lap. Right behind him, the pole sitter, the pole, Schlapinski. So I was actually looking forward to having... Yeah, we have 30 laps here at Silverstone today. I remember last time we ran here, I died around halfway through. Hope that doesn't happen again, but you never know. What do you expect? Do you expect we have all 8 people at the finish then?
Well, that would be the desired result, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I just saw Steve Velocity turning into the pits for another recon lap. I think he got bored. Hey, he can do that if he wants to. Or I think he may just be stopping to top up on fuel or something like that. There he goes again. Sorry, sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just... obviously, I hope that everyone manages to finish the race. Duh. But I am just not familiar with the track layout enough to, well, give you an estimate. And also, we got to consider the fact that there's a lot of people bunched up in the top of the scoreboard, if I can say that one more time, because that's going to lead to a very interesting battle for the higher positions in the race, and hopefully overtake someone on the scoreboard. So we could really see anything.
You're right. Yeah, that's definitely true. So Joe Gillett has just come to the grid. Yeah, I mean, if we look back to Thruxton, we had, I think, one of the closest finishes in CMH or in F5000 history, and got some greetings from Brazil in our YouTube chat. So that one goes out to Anderson Bernardino. Good luck, and I personally hope he scores points on this race again, because he has scored points on almost every race so far. But yeah, those greetings from Brazil given out to Bernardino. What I was going to say is, yeah, at Thruxton we had top 3 separated by about 5 seconds. That's pretty damn close, especially if you think about the circuit, you know, Thruxton, how many different setups you can have there and whatever.
Yes, the race at Thruxton was really a fight.
Oh yeah.
It was really a fight. And I mean, hopefully we see something like this again at Silverstone, minus the other incident, I think it was. No, that was another race. That was in Sweden with the Nordic Challenge.
Yes, that happened, and fortunately,
I got the 2 races mixed up somehow. I don't know how that happened, but
no worries.
the Fraxton race had a brilliant battle. Well, several brilliant battles actually, because we had Santorami, the professor, fighting against what was it? The Brazilian, I think it was Bernardino, if I'm correct.
I think you
Fighting for
mean
that
I think you mean
position.
Joe Gillett.
Or was it Gillett? Yeah, it
yeah,
was Gillett that took the win. Yes, that was him. So a magnificent battle, and I hope to see something like this again at Silverstone today.
Definitely. And to get you up to speed to the layout again, because you said you're not too familiar, don't worry about that. It's really just the modern layout without all the chicanes. It's really that. That's really it. You got like 8 corners, and they're all very, very fast. Now, 3 cars are still on their recon lap. Matthew Oboyski is now coming to the grid. Slopinski and Korev are still. Uh-oh. Is that Slopinski stationary?
How did he get there?
Oh, that's not good. But he's back on the track. Oh, he may be damaged, but that's not good. He's not gonna be there on time for the recon lap. So, well, I mean, he's gonna get teleported to the start anyway. But that's definitely yeah, that's definitely something that you don't want to happen.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to happen when you're the pole sitter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Anyway,
for a bit of an outing.
Definitely. Korev is now there. Where's Slopinski? Slopinski's now going through Abbey. Oh, he's gonna come in very hot. Korev is now to the grid. And I can see Slopinski, 5 seconds. There he is, going through Woodcut. And there we go. Formation lap, let's go. And we're on the formation lap. It's a very slow getaway. But as you know, during the formation lap, there's no overtaking. So yeah. Pits are closed. Everyone's got away. And technically, the first lap of the race is underway with the formation lap. So, Jack, predictions. There's 5 points separating the leader and the runner-up in the championship, and only about 2 meters on track.
That's a tough one. I hope everyone gets to the finish line safe, but I'd be lying if I said that nobody's gonna have somewhat of a crash. It's a narrow track.
Oh! No, that doesn't look good. Is that velocity?
That is velocity.
Careful there. Get back on track. There you go. I saw him smoking, but I don't think that was his. Was that his engine?
I don't know. I think it just
or was
locked
it his
up.
tires? Okay, in that case, oh.
I think he locked up and went for a bit of a picnic. And I think that's the same mistake the Pole made.
Slopinski, yeah.
Slopinski, yeah.
Yeah, his name is fairly easy to pronounce compared to the other Pole we had at Montauk Park. Anyway, I will mute myself. Jack, you will be able to call the start. And yeah, don't fall from your chair.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna wish you the best of luck then.
Thank you.
Oh boy. This is gonna be fun. As we said earlier, me and Pascal, the track is very narrow and we have a bunch of cars fighting for the top position in the leaderboard, so that's a bit of a recipe for a disaster. Especially with this really weird looking starting grid that I still can't make much sense of, honestly. But here are the cars lining up at the grid. Slopinski seems to be doing something.
I think he's right.
Oh, he's found reverse.
There you go. And just one more time forward into the grid slot, and then we're ready to go. Come on. There he is. Let's go.
All right. Now we're just gonna wait for the man with the flag to wave his flag, and the race will be off. And there they go. Look at that cloud of smoke. And Oboisky seems to be already have been left behind by everybody else. Perhaps some engine trouble or a bad start. And here we see Santorami going off the track, and somebody else, Żelapiński, the favorite boy, is going off the track a little bit, regains control of the car and gets back in. Here's the straight, and it looks like the top two are already trying to build a gap. That would be Mikula and Gillett, already trying to build a gap on Santorami to keep everybody else away from them. And someone's went off the track. Santorami just crashed out of the race. He lost a wheel. He probably went too fast through that corner and just smashed his car into the wall. This is the problem with this track. You don't really have a lot of room. And if you mess up, you are going into the wall. Meanwhile, Mikula has been overtaken by Gillett, but they are literally bumper to bumper. And I say that, and Gillett is building a gap. Commentators curse. I'm sorry, Pascal. Either way, that's the start-finish straight again. Off they go for another lap. You can really see from this camera car what we meant earlier with the track being so narrow. Even on the straights, you don't really have a whole lot of room to overtake an opponent. You really have to calculate your maneuvers, otherwise you're gonna crash into the other guy. Meanwhile, the pole is going a bit sideways through that corner, at least on the entrance, trying to keep Korolev away and behind him, most importantly. Although it seems that the Russian is closing the gap ever so slightly.
A lot of sideways action behind me. They are fighting hard.
Oh yeah, I can see that. They are...
Oh, and Joe just went on the grass through Woodcut, but he's still on first.
Somehow. Gillett is really good at keeping that car under control despite going off on the grass.
Yeah, a lot of car control from the British driver, and he's looking for yet another home victory. I mean, it's called the European Championship, but really it's mostly British tracks anyway.
And Korolev has went wide across that corner and into the grass a little bit, managed to keep the car slightly under control and got it back on the track. He has now lost the advantage he was building up to Żelapiński. So he burned his opportunity there. Meanwhile, the gap between Mikula and Gillett is growing larger and larger. Despite the fact that Gillett went a bit off the track earlier, he still managing to keep this gap between him and Mikula. Which, suffice to say, goes to show how good he can handle that car.
Another quite sideways moment there, but yeah, car control on a level we've rarely seen before, frankly.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually got to the top of the leaderboard as well, with the way he drives. Meanwhile, it seems that the pole, who was in pole position, is losing even more ground to the top two drivers. And Korolev is losing ground as well because of that mistake he made earlier. I just want to remind the audience that these are fast corners. I say that as Pascal goes on to the grass. You need downforce for that. If you don't have enough downforce, your car is going to spin out in the corner and lose control. Or you could go into the grass, just like that. So keeping a car under control with that kind of setup, at those speeds around those corners, it really takes a man to handle these things, a man with attributes of steel, shall we say.
Well, yes, that's a good way to put it. You know, nowadays, the thing, you don't have a lot of, let's call it safety on board. You know, the most advanced thing is your rev counter. And in that way, you can consider yourself the crumple zone if you crash. So, you don't want to crash. Oh, and there's Slapinski on the grass again, but fortunately he's back on track.
He seems to be having some trouble with that car. I mean, I understand the fact that these cars are a handful to drive and just dangerous all around. But he's really having some trouble with the car. Probably that when he went out, he might have damaged some suspension components and is going a bit sideways when he enters corners. So it's either that or some downforce speed, I'm guessing.
Well, he's got the highest top speed of everyone, 286 kilometers, compared to Joe Gillett in the lead, 276, and myself, 272. So he probably has running less downforce than the rest of us, which also would explain his, let's call it sideways approach to the corners.
Well, I mean, if your car's going sideways to a corner, it means you're going like a bat out of hell. Which seems to be the case with the pole.
You may want to have a look at the battle for 5th place between Anderson Bernardino and Steve Velocity. They are, how do you say it again? Bumper to bumper.
Bumper to bumper, yeah. Bumper to bumper and neck to neck. Look at them go. There's only, what, 0.2 of a second between them. This is going to be a very interesting battle because Bernardino has always scored points, if I'm not mistaken, in this championship.
Well, except last time in Thruxton.
Oh, yeah, except that time in Thruxton. True. Hopefully he keeps, you know, he doesn't keep this streak up. I'm hoping for him at least. And it seems like he really doesn't want to give up that position. He really wants Velocity's position. I want to see how this battle develops. Because that's going to be interesting. Seems like the Brazilian is ever so slightly catching up to Velocity. At least in the straights. And there he goes. He's on the inside and he's over. Ooh! Just about. They were neck to neck for a second there. But he just lacked the power to do it. That was very close and a very dangerous maneuver. Considering he almost went into the pit lane accidentally. Here he is again. Trying to get closer to Velocity and then strike with his might. Look at him just handle the car so precisely around the corners, precisely enough to almost close in on velocity. So he's either trying to keep the pace, simply to put pressure on velocity and eventually force him into making a mistake, or he is going to try very soon to push the car rather, and take his position. And it seems as we go across the start-finish straight, the first option seems to be what's going on. Just keeping the pressure on velocity, trying to get him to do a mistake. Meanwhile, the gap between first and second is widening a little bit. And Ślepinski is 7.2 seconds behind the lead car, and the gap's widening. So it seems that Ślepinski's approach and car setup didn't really pay off outside of quali, I would say. Because mind you, the same thing happened at the Thruxton race, where somebody else took Mikula's pole position in quali, and then couldn't keep up with the rest of the pack, and Bernardino is side to side with velocity, and finally he has overtaken him. After laps and laps of fighting, oh my god, they are side by side. Velocity is trying to not lose that position, and he's going to try and outbrake Bernardino through that corner, but he's gone wide and Bernardino's on the inside. I think Bernardino is done waiting. He's gonna go for the attack now. He is really done waiting. He's lost his patience and is gonna try to get that position from velocity. He snatched it up for just a second before eventually losing it again.
We missed something, quite a big something actually. It looks like Cesare Ślepinski must have spun or something, because he's now 20 seconds back and behind German Korev. Something happened there.
Yeah, I've noticed that the gaps were building up by a lot, at least his gap. Now he's behind Koroev. So he's got a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to catch up P3. Here goes around the corner. Again, I think his setup is really biting him in the buttocks right now. Not enough downforce for these fast sweeping corners, but plenty of speed for the straightaways. However, if you lack the control to go around the corners, I say that as it goes sideways again. As I was saying, if you lack the control to go around the corners, you are not gonna, you're not gonna have a good time. Sideways again, and I think he's mistaken the Formula 5000 race for a Formula D race. But everybody's question now is, will he be able to catch up again? He's still got a fast car around the straights. If it doesn't spin out again, or go sideways, or squiggle about like it just did. Meanwhile, Bernardino and Velocity are still going at it. Bernardino is really done waiting for Velocity to commit a mistake, and he's really going for the attack, and they are bumper to bumper. Did they just clip each other a little bit? Either way, Bernardino is right behind Velocity, trying to take his position and going for the attack constantly. And this has been going on for quite a couple of laps now. And it seems like, oh my god, they've collided. Velocity lost control of the car. Bernardino slammed right into the back of it and lost his front wing. I'm not so sure about Velocity's state of the car, but Bernardino's front end is gone.
That's not good. If Bernardino can continue like that, then he of course can. But he may just have to repair because, as you said, you need a lot of downforce around these corners, and if you lose your nose, you're kind of lacking that.
Gonna suffer from understeer. Well, I guess you're not gonna spin out, but ooh, Oboisky seems to have either spun out or broke down in the middle of the track. No, he's reversing now.
I heard his engine still running, so he's still good. He's probably just spun under acceleration there. You know, these Ford engines in the Lotus, they may not have the biggest of grunt. They're still 5-liter V8 engines, so even when the tires are up to temp, you want to be careful of those.
Especially since they're still old race cars. They're not particularly good at handling. Especially when you're missing the front wing like Bernardino. I have no idea how he's keeping that car on track right now and how he's able to keep velocity behind him like that. I am impressed by his driving right now. That's a fast corner. He's not carrying as much speed as before, but he is flooring it on the straights. Seems like his car might have lost some of its handling capabilities because of that wing. As I say that, as Velocity is about to go for the attack. He is right behind him, cutting the corner a little bit and going into the grass, and now Velocity is on the inside, but Bernardino shuts the door right in front of him. And ooh, that was very close. Touching the tires on these cars, that's something you do not want to do. Unless you want to have a big crash.
Yeah, unless you want to have a Mark Webber moment, you don't want to interlock your wheels with another car.
Oh heavens, no! But it seems like Bernardino is able to keep Velocity at bay.
Now things are gonna get interesting, because the leaders, you know, Joe Gillett being 5.8 ahead, is gonna come up to them real fast. So. Who knows? Maybe, you know, given that both of them are fighting right now, Bernardino and Velocity, they have probably got no incentive at all to let the leader pass, because otherwise they might compromise their own bit.
Velocity and Bernardino were going again side by side, so Velocity is not happy about losing that position, and he's probably as puzzled as I am about how that car is so fast without the front wing.
Here they come, there he goes.
Into the inside, and he's gone wide and off the track. He's on 2 wheels up the embankment.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
He's made a mistake, and Bernardino is cashing in on it and legging it as far away as possible from him.
And here comes Joe.
Oh boy. Well, at least they're not fighting for that position anymore, so Gillett is probably gonna have no problem overtaking them.
And Matthew Oboisky is in the pits, so he may have some damage. But he's definitely getting that looked at by his pit crew. Or I think he may be out of the pits again at some point.
Yeah, he's coming out of the pits now. Meanwhile, Bernardino is really cashing in on this opportunity. Despite the fact that he lacks a front wing, he's still 3 seconds ahead of Velocity, and he's managing to widen the gap. Meanwhile, Joe Gillett is attempting to pass Velocity. At this point, Velocity should have received the blue flag. Velocity going a little bit off the track to make some room for the British. Nothing too serious, thankfully. And now Gillett is coming up to the very, very damaged car driven by Bernardino, and Gillett spun!
Oh no! Under acceleration, there he is! Oh no.
He's getting back on track, but he took that corner probably too fast, or maybe, well, probably too fast for the amount of downforce, and
Well, what
just
did I
went
say?
off the track.
What did I say about being careful on the throttle?
Exactly.
Oh, and there's Bernardino going wide, and Velocity's passed.
Velocity has passed Bernardino.
There he goes.
Wow, that took him a while. Bernardino, remember, Bernardino has a damaged car, so I'm just as confused about how he could keep that position for so long. Oh, it is off the track. As the yep.
You may also want to have a look at the fight between Korev and Shlapinski. That one's heating up again. They're only 2 seconds apart. So that's a fight for the final podium position, nonetheless. 4 points are on the line here.
Oh yeah, and Shlapinski messed up earlier and lost P3. So it seems like he did work extra hard to recover from that mistake and catch up with the Russian. But we're gonna have to wait and see if he actually manages to strike and get the overtake done and snatch the position from him. And that is gonna require some really impressive driving, because again, as we've seen from his car, it doesn't seem like it's set up for downforce, so it's a bit squiggly through the corners, which is what eventually has bitten him in the back, and that's how he lost that position earlier by spinning out. So we're gonna have to see if he has learned from that mistake and tread carefully as he approaches the Russian.
And there's a yellow flag in turn 1. That is because Matthew Oboyski is leaving the pits again. I think that's the second time he went through the pits during the race.
I think he's having car troubles. And that's the only explanation.
Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised with that Lotus. It's not really the best car. It's you would want to call it a dog with that engine. The Ford V8, it used to dominate in the late 60s, but once the Chevy small block came along into Formula 5000, it really took the success. It's kind of like when the Renault engine and the Red Bull dominated the V8 era in the early 2010s, and then there comes Mercedes just taking, 8 titles in a row or 7 titles in a row, kind of like that.
Yeah. If you don't have a good engine, you're not going to win a race. That's for sure. Especially if you have an unreliable engine. By the way, it seems like Shlapinski is still going around corners sideways. This is Bernardino lets him pass. Here he is on the straight. Massive amounts of speeds on the straight. Sadly, lacking the control around the corners, meaning he's going to have to slow down more than the other drivers to take the same corners with the same lines, which means more time spent around the corner, which opens up opportunities for his opponents to take over.
Again, as I said, I think in that case, and I'm seeing Korev and Shlapinski are now, they're getting stuck behind Velocity. But what I want to say is, as I said, I know Shlapinski from HSO and stuff like that. I think that may just be part of his driving style as well. Driving these cars kind of sideways. Because when you look at YouTube and you see the old films about these race cars, and I'm not just talking Formula 5000, I'm talking even F1 or even F2, F3 from the 70s. They did drive most of the time. They did drive sideways.
Just gives him more style point. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to give out points for style, adding to the results, I think Shlapinski would definitely have some in the bag already.
Oh yeah, because, absolutely.
You don't just drive these cars sideways like that and still be fast as hell. It takes a lot of as you pointed it, attributes of steel to do that.
Yes. Especially because his cars are not safe. So kudos to Schlapinski who's doing it, and kudos to the real drivers who did that as well.
Oh, I
Probably
think
because
Joe
of...
Gillett spun again. Spun
Ooh, did
again.
he?
He is now 10 seconds behind me,
Oh, wow.
and he's got German Korev and Cesarius Schlapinski right behind him.
Ooh, this changes everything. This changes everything because Gillett was leading the race for a good long while now. And now he's going to have to fight two people. Meanwhile, Korev seems to be overtaking him.
Oh, Lord.
They are
and, you know,
almost side by side.
And the best part is, Schlapinski was earlier. Earlier he was fighting for third. Now he's fighting for second. He's licking blood. You know, he's looking, type A blood.
He's looking for blood, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at them, they're all so close.
Beautiful.
Now Gillett has to work extra hard because he's got two cars to fend off instead of just one.
And he doesn't have that much time
anymore.
He's not even got that much time left because we're now lapping lap 20 of 30. We're already 2/3 through the race. Joe Gillett easily led the first half of the race. And now the second half of the race is the harder one because you don't want to be leading lap 1, you don't want to be leading lap 2, you want to be leading the final lap.
That's what matters. Coming across the finish line first on the last lap.
Yeah.
That's kind of how racing works.
And Schlapinski's now in third place. He just overtook Korev.
And Gillett seems to be building the gap between them even more now.
That's good for Joe.
Yeah.
Very good for him because he's got 10.8 seconds to make up, and only 10 laps to go.
Yep, that's gonna be very difficult for him.
That's gonna be a task and a half.
Especially with Schlapinski trying to catch up to him now. Because he's not giving up. He's not content with just third position, it seems. He wants second place at least. Or even first. So we're gonna have to see how these last 10 laps go.
Here are the gaps. Leader is myself. So I shouldn't be talking that much, but 10.8 seconds to Joe Gillett, 13.5 to Cesarius Schlapinski, 14.6 to German Korev. Steve Velocity is a lap down. Anderson Bernardino is a lap down. Matthew Oboyski is 3 laps down. And unfortunately, our only retirement so far, unfortunately a retirement, but fortunately the only one so far, is Giovanni Santorami, runner-up at Thruxton, DNF'd on lap 1.
Yeah, that was very, very sad for Santorami. He just crashed his car on the first lap. He lost an entire wheel because of that crash. It seems like the professor couldn't keep his cool. Or maybe some mechanical problems with the car.
It might have been mechanical, because when the brakes are cold, they work just as little as when they're too hot. So he may have just had cold brakes.
Pushing the car too fast. Yeah, I can
Something
see
like that.
It's a recipe for disaster. You can really see that. Anyway, it seems like Schlapinski is still going sideways around the corners. I have no idea how he's keeping that car stable, but wow. Okay. That's some impressive driving. Just look at him, he's drifting the car like it's Formula D. That's fantastic. And it seems like Korev is closing the gap a little bit, probably because of the drifting. And he's able, the Russian is probably able to get the car under control. And Schlapinski going on a little bit wide there, and letting Korev close the gap even more. But the straight line speed of the pole just gives him the edge as it goes sideways around another corner. I'm loving this. I am really loving this. While it seems like Gillett is ever so slightly closing the gap with Pascal. It's now down to 8.8 seconds. Oh, Slapinski spun out. He took that corner too fast and too wide, and he couldn't counter steer enough, and he went off the track. He is now in 4th position and lost that place. He was doing so well. He's doing so well, and now he's gonna have to work extra hard again. Catch him and take the position again. Hopefully.
And again, we're having quite a close fight, you know, not between the top 4 necessarily, but between 3rd and 4th. And again, the field's come pretty close in the last few races, with the top 4 currently being separated by only 13.5 seconds. It's not as close as Thruxton was, but, you know, it's still better than what we had at the beginning of the season when the winning car was a lap ahead of 2nd place.
Yeah, that is true. It makes for a more interesting race as well, since you have all the cars fighting very close to each other. And it seems like Bernardino might be closing the gap on velocity as well, despite not having a front wing anymore. But it seems like Korev car setup is paying him off, as Slapinski goes sideways around the corner again. And again, just keeping the car under control as much as he can. Trying to make up that position. The position that is lost twice now, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe even 3 times. Either way, he really is a hell of a driver, I can tell you that much. Especially with the way he keeps the car under control while sliding it around the corner, like God knows how fast.
Especially now, you know, you kind of have to remember, no one stopped for tires yet, I think, except for Oboisky maybe. Tires are starting to wear. I can feel it in my car. I'm starting to go more sideways than I want to, really, but that's just the tires starting to wear at some point. Especially because we push these cars around the corner so much. Yeah, they really take their toll.
Yeah, what with that all downforce and all that, you are going to wear out your tires a lot sooner than you'd expect. Meanwhile, it seems like Gillett is closing the gap even more with Pascal. It is now down to 6.2 seconds.
There's only 6 laps to go. Maybe we'll see something on the last lap. I mean,
probably, if you can keep this up.
I would love to go faster.
Well, then just floor it.
I am? Well, we'll see how this goes. 6.2 now.
Yep. You know why Slapinski is trying his hardest to keep up with Korolev. But he can only do so much, it seems. Korolev, in the meantime, with the funniest looking car on the field right now, I would say, is keeping him at bay, essentially. Drumming like a bear out of hell. He's trying to keep that position now that he's got it back again. He doesn't want to repeat the same mistake he did earlier and let Slapinski take him again. But it seems like, yes, it seems like the gap's being closed. Slapinski is trying to close the gap, and it seems to be getting a bit closer to the car with each lap. Seems to be getting closer to Korev. So there might be something in for him, after all. Despite the fact that we only have So many laps to go still.
5 laps to go now.
Yeah, 5 laps, that's not a whole lot. But
Nope.
could be enough for a very talented driver to close a gap and take a position. That would be absolutely brilliant to see. But it's no easy
Gap is
feat.
less than 2 seconds. It's less than 2 seconds between the two.
Exactly, but it is a no easy feat.
Okay, 4 laps to go now.
Especially with old tires and a speed setup for your car, which means you're not going to be, you're going to be sideways a lot through the corners, even with new tires anyway. So it takes a lot of work. It's no easy feat to do something like that, to pull something like that off. I say that as Gillett seems to be closing the gap even more to Pascal. The gap is now 4.6 seconds. Just a couple of laps ago, it was 8.8. He's driving like a bat out of hell. He's just flooring it with that car. Just massive amount of speeds.
And he's proving it as well. He just did the fastest lap of the race, 1:19.4. He's definitely not given up, and I'm getting scared.
You should be, considering he's gaining a handful of seconds per lap almost. That's something I haven't seen in a while now. That's impressive. Just look at the way he drives the car. He's just flooring it all the time. He's like a bat out of hell. Trying to
we got a yellow flag on the start-finish straight. That's Velocity.
Oh my god,
Velocity's
Velocity's crashed?
Well, he's still on the way, but he's lost his nose.
Yeah, I saw some debris on the start-finish stretch.
There's Bernardino as well.
We were gonna see a replay, and...
Schlapinski's out. Schlapinski's retired.
Oh my god. It seems like Velocity and Bernardino collided, and Velocity eventually went off the track and almost into the stands.
And what happened with Schlapinski? He retired. There's 3 laps to go. Everything seems to be happening right now.
He crashed. Oh! We're gonna see a replay of that. He went off the track and lost it. No grip, crashed into the barrier, rolled over, then landed it safely, but his car's a wreck. So Schlapinski is wrecked out. Meanwhile, all this noise is letting Gillett catch up to Pascal. The gap is now just 3.2 seconds. He is going...
And we have only 2 laps to go.
And we only have 2 laps to go. I have no idea if he's going to be able to catch up to you, Pascal, but he's just... I have never seen someone carry that amount of speed through a race for so long, trying to close the gap, which is now at 2.7 seconds, by the way. He is closing in so fast on Pascal, we might just see an overtake soon. Oh, this is exciting. This is the kind of stuff that keeps me glued to my chair when I see it. Just look at Gillett's driving. Velocity has retired.
Velocity is out of the race. Very unfortunate as well.
So we are 3 cars down.
I can see what happened with Velocity. He must have gone off at Stowe. Stowe is the corner after the hanger straight. Now I got it. See? Eventually I get it.
He went off right before the start-finish line because he bumped into Bernardino, who still doesn't have a front wing, by the way, and just got pushed out and into the barrier and almost crashed into the stands.
We're now slowly entering the final lap. Joe is on the grass. He's pushing like hell.
Oh yeah, he is really not happy about you taking his position, Pascal.
Final lap of the race. 2.1 seconds.
Oh my god, Gillett is completely insane. We might see an overtake. I have
1.8 seconds.
I have never seen anything like this before, ladies and gentlemen. This is insanity. Just the speed of Joe Gillett's car as he tries to catch up with Mikula. He's
1.9.
He's gone mad. He's gone mad. I have no idea how he's keeping that car so stable while carrying so much speed and closing the gap by, what, 2 seconds a lap?
1.6.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. I have never seen anything like it. He's catching up to Mikula.
$1.4. 1.7 again. Through Abbey.
We're now approaching the little kink.
Final corner now.
This is now the last straight before the final corner, and then the start-finish straight. Will Gillett be able to do anything about it? Doesn't seem like it, but... Oh my god, he spun out! He spun out on the start-finish straight as he was about to go for the attack. But he recovered the car. My god, he's gone sideways across the finish line. That was insane.
If anything, that just shows the dedication of Joe Gillett. And he's pissed off. You know why?
Because
he's
you won?
Oh, he's pissed off. He stopped and instantly quit the server. Which, okay, I understand, but... Oh...
That was a...
And everyone's finished now.
That was an amazing race, if you ask me. Just Joe Gillett's driving was mad. Absolutely
oh, Lord.
mad. That was insane driving just to... He's closed the gap down to 0.9 seconds before he crossed the line.
And that in 10, from 8 seconds to 0.9 within 10 laps. He definitely...
That was insane. And then we have another driver, Bernardino, who's driven most of the race without a front wing. How does he do that? How did he keep the car under control?
Well, you need all the downforce you can get, but if you don't have much downforce to begin with, because we're in 1972 and these cars have cables as wings, you know, you don't really lose that much when you lose your nose, so congratulations to him. Here's the finishing order after 30 laps.
We have Mikula in first position, taking the win for this race at Silverstone. In second place, we have Gillett, who just closed the gap in such a fantastic manner. He's gone down from more than 10 seconds to 0.9 seconds in just 10 laps. That was some insane driving. Then in third place, we have Koroev, followed by Bernardino, driving without a front wing. He never stopped at the pits to get that fixed, by the way. And then we have Oboisky. Well, actually, there's two people in front of him, but they crashed out.
They're still classified because they did enough laps. Schlapinski, on his debut, 5th, and Velocity, despite having crashed out, 6th.
Fair enough. Then Santorami, well, last position, sadly, because he lost control of the car and crashed out on the first lap. That was some...
Unfortunate for him.
That was some insane driving from some of the drivers. That was just absolutely insane. We had Gillett closing a gap. Just, what the hell was that? Like 1 second, 1.5 seconds per lap, something like that. Then we have Bernardino without a front wing, just driving like a bat out of hell and keeping Velocity at bay. And then we have Schlapinski going sideways at every single corner of the race, just going sideways with that car and still managing to be able to attack some of the other drivers, specifically Koroev, for that third position. Eventually that backfired on him when he spun out and lost that position. But that was just some absolutely brilliant driving from everybody.
Oh, you know what I think?
Yes.
I think Joe Gillett is not very happy with Steve Velocity as far as lapping is concerned, because he just showed him a blue flag in the chat. But we'll sort that out afterwards. Now let's get to the driver interviews.
Yes, it seems like
Giovanni Santorami.
Yeah, he might be the first up for an interview.
Don't do the interview in Italian though. There we go. Wait.
I'll try.
Okay. So we got two people actually. First off, Giovanni Santorami. See if we can
Hi.
get. There we go.
Yes, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Giovanni, you did very well in Throxton, and you crashed out here in the first lap. What happened there?
Yeah, that was just a stupid error. I don't know. I just brake and the front right just lock up and I went out. Was just bad luck, I think. Oh,
Okay,
maybe
so-
cold brakes. I don't know.
Okay, so that's what happened there. 1 second. I need to. Paimon, you need to mute the game, please, or exit the game because the music is kind of copyrighted. Anyway, okay, yeah, that was definitely very unfortunate for you. We already speculated it might have been cold brakes or something like that, but it was really sad to see you out there because you qualified really, really well.
Yes, I'm sad too because the race was really intensive. So I'm just sad I missed from lap one. So I hope next time I will be more lucky.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll see you. We'll see you in where do we head next? Salzburgring, at the Salzburgring. So we can all
Yeah.
put on our hats, our lederhosen, and we're gonna go yodeling into Austria. We'll see you there. We'll see you there,
Bye.
Giovanni.
Bye, Pascal. Bye.
Ciao.
Giovanni. Next up, I think, is Steve.
Steve, 1 second. I'll just quickly pull the German choref back into the voice chat so that he doesn't think we leave him out. But, well, who knows? Anyway, Steve Velocity, our Romanian hero and Corn of the Day poster whenever Eddie isn't here.
Yes,
You
sir.
finished a Formula 5000 race. Congratulations! What a
Thank
massive.
you.
Well, no, wait, you didn't
No,
actually
he didn't
finish.
finish. He crashed
Oh,
out.
I'm sorry.
He crashed
Technically.
out.
Okay, look,
Technically.
So,
he made it. He made it past lap 1. That's a massive dub already.
okay.
So how did the race go?
I have to say it was probably the most fun race I've ever had here, and maybe next time I'm gonna finish. Who knows?
Do you know what is the blue flag?
Oh, guys, not
here, not right now. It would
not
be
in the booth.
hilarious if we got a fight live, but not right now. We just want to get the interviews done.
Yeah.
So let's discuss
just
this
talk
later,
about-
please.
Let's just talk about the race.
So,
Sorry.
Steve, what can you tell about that crash that you've had on the start-finish straight? What happened?
I have to say that my brakes locked up, and I just went off. The grass definitely doesn't help with traction. So
Ooh,
it
yeah.
happened. Driver mistake, and that's it. Not much else to commentate.
Okay. Well,
Still, that was an impressive fight with Bernardino. I gotta say that was just brilliant.
I have
It
to
really-
say, the battle with Bernardino was very fun. I tried to save fuel because I didn't have my ignition bound to anything. I couldn't turn off my engine, so I was like 2 laps down on fuel or something.
Oh,
So the
oh,
crash
you were short field. Okay, that was.
sort of helped, I guess. Less fuel, less weight.
More velocity. Yeah.
Exactly, more speed.
Speed is a lot, mate.
The
Oh,
speed is a
the
lot.
speed is a lot, mate.
All right. Well, am I right in making the assumption that we'll also see you at the Salzburgring with a, well, okay, that's more Bavaria, but with a beer in the hand, some lederhosen and everything.
I
a
hope
few
I can
weeks'
make
time.
it, honestly.
All right. In that case, thank you very much for racing and for surviving turn one. I know it's been a lot of
Thank you.
no. The thing is, I know you've had a lot of like a big confidence. How do you say it? You lost a lot of confidence after the first race at Brands Hatch when you crashed out in the first lap. So I must say, personally speaking, I'm pretty darn proud that you made it so far in the race. Next step is actually seeing the the finishing flag, but that's our pretty good progress there.
Small steps. That's all it takes.
Onwards and
Small
upwards.
steps.
Thank you
Yep.
very much,
Good.
Steve. We'll see you
Thank you for
hopefully.
having me.
Well, we'll definitely see you at Deepholz for the DTM race.
I think I can make it, hopefully. It's not really written in stone. There's stuff I have to
Okay.
take care of, like work and all that.
Okay, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good.
All right. And now for our third interviewee, Russia's German Korev. Oi. How did your race go?
My race was pretty boring, I guess. But I had a good battle with Cesaris. So he was making mistakes, I was making mistakes, but at the end of all, he has retired because of suspension or something. I don't know. So I had an opportunity to overtake Joe Gillett because Evgeny told me Steve almost killed him, but I made a few mistakes too.
I don't think that Steve and Joe actually got together. From what I saw ahead of me, at least, that's how Joe fell back in the first place. Is that he spun out of Chapel onto the long straight. He just put too much throttle down and just spun out. So yeah, but in general, well, they did actually. Oh well, okay. I would just say, shit happens.
Yeah,
But
so he
in
had.
in
Sorry.
yeah, but in the end, everyone, well, more or less everyone survived. But yeah, from what I heard, you and Cesarius had a very good battle, as you already said.
Yeah.
How did you feel seeing that car when it was in front of you going sideways more than straight?
Sorry.
Well,
Uh,
Cesarius has a very good. Cesarius was going sideways, drifting through the corners a lot.
Yeah.
How did you see that? Did you think he was gonna spin out at some point?
He was good at drifting, actually. So I didn't think he's gonna spun, but he made a mistake at the. I don't know what's the name of his corner, but it's
Yeah, I
one of the last corner.
I forget corner names as well. Don't worry.
It's not the last corner. It's
Oh, the second to
before.
last.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
the
kink Abby. It's yeah, that's Abby. Yes.
And that's why I overtake him. So I'm in third place, but he also retired.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, German. I hope we'll see you on the Salzburg race as well in a few weeks' time. Thank you very much for giving your view of the race, and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye. And finally, we got our fourth place finisher in here, Brazil's Anderson Bernardino. And I think, Jack, you can try to do that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of questions for Bernardino, that's for sure. First of all, hello. How are
Hello,
you doing?
everyone. I'm fine. The race was very fun, very exciting.
That's good, but I have a very important question. How the hell did you drive that car without a front wing? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I think in the fight with Steve, we had an accident in the last corner, and I broke my front wing and the front right suspension. So the car was a bit difficult to drive. I had to brake earlier in the corners, so that's why my pace in the last phases of the race was dropping. But the car was fine, the engine was working, so here we go.
So you've been driving without a front wing, sorry, and a damaged suspension, and you've managed to keep Steve at bay. You were in front of Steve when he eventually crashed out. I'm impressed to say the least. That was some amazing driving. Kudos to you, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah, the fight with Steve was very good. Uh, in the last laps of the race, we had a huge accident. I don't know if I was responsible for that, so I gave him the position. I think his car was. I gave him the position back, but I don't know. I think his car was with a lot of damage too, because we trade positions a lot of times, and he crashed again, and I was able to finish in front of him.
Oh, he said something about you locked up the brakes, if I'm not mistaken. Pascal, I don't remember. Yeah, I think he
Sorry,
said that he
what
locked
did I
up.
miss?
Why did Steve crash out? He locked up the brakes, correct?
I think he did into cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He locked up the
I
brakes, went straight.
I just saw two big marks on the surface, just two big tire marks
Yeah, that
leading
might have
right
been
into the
him.
wall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that might have been him. Considering he locked up the brakes, went off the track, and crashed into the stands.
he might have just
So
taken a few people with him.
yeah, that's 19. What was it? 1956 Mercedes all over again.
55, but yeah,
55,
just
56.
something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But either way, brilliant racing by your parts. And is there anything else you want to add before saying goodbye?
I think this race was very fun. I think the championship is becoming more competitive, and that's very good. And that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Anderson, for your words on this race. I hope we'll see you on this at the Salzburgring as well when we next head there with the Formula 5000s. So yeah, enjoy your day, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
So speaking of what's coming up next, we really didn't have time to talk about that during the race because there was so much excitement going on, which in a way it's good.
That's what
There
a
was
race is
not.
supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't really a dull moment where you could say, you know what, let's have a look at what's coming up next. But in true CMH fashion, let's have a look at what's coming up next. On the 29th of August, that is next Sunday, we have the 7th round of our annual CMH Gold Star Award, the 20th ADAC Flugplatzrennen at the Diepholz Airport, DTM 1987. You're gonna have BMW M3s fighting against Mercedes 190s. Throw in the odd Alfa Romeo and Ford Mustang, yes. And you're gonna have a beautiful race, 40 laps around a 2.6 kilometer airport track with lap times under a minute. So tune in for that next Sunday here on the CMH YouTube channel. Next up, we had the Nordic Challenge Cup just a week or so ago, I think 2 weeks ago, at Mantorp Park. Now we go to Anderstorp, Scandinavian Raceway Anderstorp, the 4th round of the Nordic Challenge Cup on September 1st. There are still over 30 cars available, so if you want to take part in that fun racing, short sprint races with big engines, sports cars on, Swedish and Finnish tracks, come join the CMH Discord and the forum where we are holding these races. And finally, a premiere how do you call it? A premiere prediction, or not prediction, but a premiere here at CMH. We delve into the 21st century. the 8th round of our CMH Gold Star is the 2005 GP2 Series Bahrain Grand Prix support race on September 12th. 24 cars are in the mod in the series, took part in the races, so they're all available. So come join us if you want to do some not quite Formula 1 racing. I'm actually quite looking forward to that because GP2,
We've never done modern cars, have we? This is the first time
No.
we're doing modern cars from the 21st
mo-
century.
yeah, that makes a roundabout sense, except if you want to look at the first Gold Star race, which was the British Rallycross Grand Prix, but that was just, dipping your toes in the water. But yeah, that's the first time we go into the 21st century. We're going right to 2005 with GP2. And that was back when they still had these 4-liter V8s that screamed like hell. I'm looking forward to that.
It's gonna be fun and loud.
Oh yeah. Oh, and especially loud because even though we're gonna use the Varnux 3D mod, the sounds in that mod are kind of shite. So I replaced them with if any of you have ever played Race 07, you may know the Formula 3000 car there, the Lola what is it called, TO2 or something. No, BO2 because the B is for for GP2. That thing also had a 4-liter V8, just around about the same kind of 4-liter V8 that you have in a GP2 car. So that's why I said let's just take those sounds, put them in there. We'll actually have some cars that scream for once, not just growl, they scream.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
I'm looking forward to that, especially at Bahrain, at the Sakir circuit. It's a Tilkadrome, but it's one of the good ones.
I have no idea where that is.
Bahrain?
Yes.
That's in. Well, Bahrain is its own country. It's in somewhere around. Oh, what's it? It's
You
like.
don't know either, do
so-
you?
No, it's in Asia. It's like Asia, not Africa, but somewhere around. I would almost say somewhere around Dubai, and whatever and stuff like that. It's in that part of the world. But yeah, the
Somewhere
track
over there.
somewhere there. I'll show you after the broadcast. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because the track is pretty good. The cars are damn nice to drive, and I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna enjoy that because it's somewhat modern Formula racing.
It's almost Formula One. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, almost, but not quite. Anyway, with that out of the way, thank you very much for watching the Silverstone Grand Prix at CMH. Again, this stream was brought to you by SimRace247. Sim racing is for everyone. Thank you very much for Darren for partnering with, or for allowing us to partner with him. And yeah, we'll see you next time when we head to Deep Holes. Thank you very much. Good night.
See you at the next race.